we've now been joined by Brodie Kostecki. Brodie, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you spending time with us. Tell us a little bit about this week, kind of what it's been like getting ready for the Indianapolis road course.
Yeah, it's been a real experience for myself. I landed here on Friday and been working closely with everyone at Richard Childress Racing and also with everyone at Chevy as well, and been at the GM Tech Center quite a bit, and I've done around 13, 14 hours in their simulator there, and just trying to be a sponge and get up to speed as quickly as possible in the short amount of time that I have.
All right. Well, now we'll go to questions for Brodie. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll work to get a microphone to you. Who would like to kick us off? All right. We'll start with Jordan and then Kelly.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Early impressions of the next-gen car so far from your test?
I didn't get the pleasure of doing an on-track test. I've only done time in the driver in the loop simulator at the GM Tech Center. But honestly, there's a lot of similarities between the Camaro I'm racing, today and what I raced back home in Australia. So first time on track will be in practice. So I'll let you know after that.
What did you think of the simulator? What did you gain from it?
Yeah, it's something that we don't do back home at all. So obviously, GM built the Tech Center, I think 11, 12 months ago, and I was pretty amazed by the amount of technology that's in there, and really helped my learning curve with trying to understand the car and the track as well, and working closely with the team to work on setup stuff as well. So looking forward to jumping in the car and seeing the correlation.
A lot of talk about physicality of these races and how it's full contact racing. Coming in, are you ready for that? Are you prepared for that? Are you ready to give out as much as you're willing to take?
I think it's, what we do back home is quite similar in a way. There's probably a little bit more rules around our racing back home, but it is pretty similar in a way. So, I'll just do what I do best and drive the car and see what happens.
All right, Kelly, go ahead.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Brodie, have you watched tape of the races here from the first 2 years, and what did you think of basically the carnage?
I was actually very scared after when I found out I was doing this race. I went back through the last 2 years and went to study pretty quickly, how the race sort of played out and what it was like into turn one. But obviously this weekend there's been changes to the restart zone, so. It was sort of a bit interesting, going back through and watching how the races played out. But I also think it'll be quite a bit different this weekend with the restart zone. And
can you just talk about? I mean, when you wanted to be a race car driver, was NASCAR, I think, something that you considered maybe when you were younger? You had a draw towards NASCAR, so this has kind of been like a long time coming, or maybe like a dream come true to be able to run a NASCAR race.
Yeah, I spent around 4 to 5 years in America. I came over, I think, in 2012, I believe, and raced some NASCAR late models and raced the K&N East Series. So it's it's funny how the world works, and it's come around in full circle. And went back home and competing in the Australian Supercars Championship and leading that at the moment. And then being able to get this opportunity with everyone at RCR and Richard to come and make my Cup debut. So it's sort of done a full circle, which is pretty cool.
All right, next we're going to go to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Talk about your preparation for practice, how important it is. It's very short. And what are your thoughts about qualifying? Yeah,
it's been, the procedure and format here is a lot different than back home. We're still similar to how NASCAR was prior to COVID. So, not much time to get accustomed to everything. And, like I said, being able to spend, 13, 14 hours at the GM Tech Center and the simulator there has been pretty crucial into, I think how practice is going to play out. So, we've only got 20 minutes of practice and straight into qualifying. So, we'll just have to, make sure that I, hit my marks early, and I've been given all the tools and everything around me to be able to perform well. So, I'm pretty confident going to practice that, as long as, what happens with the weather, we'll see what happens.
All right, we're going to go to Bob and then to Nate.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. I assume that your decision to run this race was made before SVG won Chicago, correct? So with his winning it, did it bring any more attention to your doing this?
No, I think we've been working on this for around about 2 years now with everyone at RCR, and we sort of looked at the calendar, and my options to come over and do a race are quite limited on the fact that we race back home as well. So there was only a few races that weren't conflicting. One of them was Chicago, and the other one was Indy, and with how RCR performed here last year, we circled that on the calendar quite a while ago. So, obviously what Shane did at Chicago was, pretty amazing. But I think it's very different circumstances here this weekend.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Brodie, when SVG won at Chicago, there's a lot of focus on his heel toe, right foot braking. Are you a heel toe guy?
Yeah, pretty much 90% of everyone back home in Australia right foot brakes. It's just something that we have to do with our cars back home, and it's sort of been the fastest way we get our supercars around. So if you don't do it back home, you don't really sort of make it.
So do you think it would be, I know this is a different track, but do you feel like that'll be an advantage tomorrow? And was there any sort of amusement for supercars drivers or people in Australia that there was all this attention and focus on that when it's so normal over there?
Yeah, it's quite amazing, obviously, seeing, each sport's different in their own ways. And to be honest, I don't know if it's going to help me or may, hinder me. I won't know till I drive it in practice. So, we'll just have to sort of see. But it's, seems pretty cool that it's, different over here to right foot brake and heel toe. So, that was pretty cool to see the onboard of Shane. That's something that we don't really get to see much of back home.
All right, we're going to go to Pat with MRN, and then we're going to come back up front and do Bruce and Lewis. Go ahead.
Brodie, first off, Shane set the bar pretty high when it comes to coming in and being competitive. But before that, road course ringers coming in and winning races, it had been a long time since anybody had been competitive. How difficult do you anticipate that to be going into Sunday's race? Not just running laps and getting used to it, but actually being able to go out there, be competitive, and maybe get a win.
Yeah, I think, there's no secret that there's been ringers in before, and, I've been fast at times, but, I haven't, won races, and then, sort of Shane come over and, first time in a street circuit, the weather, whatnot, and that's sort of, our bread and butter back home is, racing on street circuits, and it's something that you can't actually go practice on. So, that was pretty cool to see, but, honestly, with how many road courses are on the NASCAR schedule now, all the drivers here have put in a lot of effort into their road course program. So, it's definitely not going to be easy, and these guys are really good at, what they do.
It's one step at a time, but when it comes to, you talked about this taking 2 years in the making to get this done. Is this something that you want to do more of, or is it just, take the weekend day by day and then go from there?
Yeah, I sort of don't look, too much into the future. I just sort of see how this weekend sort of plays out, and just see what opportunities come up if they do after this weekend. But I sort of don't. I live one day at a time, really. So we'll see what happens.
All right, we're going to come back up front to Bruce. Go ahead.
Scott, McLaughlin's had a lot of good things to say about you. How much have you spoken with him? And a second question is, when did you first become aware of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and what does it really represent to you?
Yeah, I've known about Indianapolis Motor Speedway ever since I was, quite young. I've always watched the Indy 500. I was able to come over here last year and watch Scotty, do his thing in IndyCar, which was really cool. And he's someone that I lent on quite a bit when I made my debut back home for the Supercars Championship. So, I haven't asked him too much, about the NASCAR side of things coming over and doing this. It sort of seems like two different worlds in a way.
All right, Lewis.
Brodie, earlier today, Kamui said that NASCAR races stopped being broadcast in Japan. So my question is, are they being broadcast in Australia, and does everybody have to make an excuse for being late to work on Monday morning?
Funny enough, every Cup race is broadcasted back home on Sunday, which is really cool. And I have seen a lot of posts saying that people aren't going to be making it on Monday with Shane and myself racing, which is obviously really cool, having so much support from back home, and was able to do a fan day in the town of Speedway here in Indy, and had a lot of support there as well, which has been really cool.
All right, go ahead.
So I don't know if you really had a chance to see the fans yet, but Supercars in America has really blown up within the last few years, and obviously with the V8 Supercars endorsement of being on your car, wanting to grow stateside, how much does it mean to have their endorsement, and how has the reception been to you with the fans that already have shown up, even the American fans that are Supercar fans at this point?
Yeah, it's been really cool. I did a signing session. I think yesterday at Speedway, and it was really cool. I was signing photos of my Chevrolet Camaro from back home, which was something that really surprised me at the time. And but before my time racing supercars back home, they have come race in America at COTA, and was quite popular. So yeah, it was sort of really cool to see that the following's starting to grow, and obviously to have the support from everyone back home, and supercars as well is really cool.
All right, Brodie, thank you so much for spending time with us. Best of luck this weekend. Thanks for coming over and hanging out with us.
Thank you.